Real quick before the video starts, I made a Discord server. The link will be pinned in the comments and in the description of this video. It's basically a server where we chat about anime, manga, manhwa, video games, practically anything you could think of. There's also an editing hub for people who want to learn editing or have just questions on how to do certain effects or things. If you're interested, feel free to join. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the video. Why does my phone keep buzzing? Alright, let's see what it is. Read the boxer. I'll worry about that later.
Your list is a bit
If you're
wrong.
looking for
recommendation,
Fine. Jeez, man. I read the boxer, okay? Surely it can't be that good. Okay, this manga is pretty good. So, I'm a person who enjoys the practice of mixed martial arts, specifically boxing. It's the art and sweet science of being able to hit and not get hit. It holds many different styles that allows one to express themselves in the ring, and is something that has been practiced for generations, creating many iconic legends that made a name for themselves in the record books. Some are a master at defense, others are known for their movements and charisma, while some bulldoze their way into a victory. I've read and been through a ton of boxing related manga. I've read stories that left a lasting impression on me and works that continue to motivate me till this day. These stories have proven time and time again the importance of discipline, the importance of hope, and the importance of being able to push forward no matter how hard times will get. Because at the end of that tunnel, there will always be light. For the longest, I've been yearning for a new boxing story to capture my attention. I've read and caught up to pretty much every boxing manga, so to solve that issue, I started a new chapter in my life and opened the doors to Manwha. For my first ever experience with them, I asked you guys for some recommendations and turned that into a video. But despite this manhwa being as popular as it is, only one person recommended it to me. The spin the wheel had other plans. Since the video release, so many of you guys have been asking me to read the boxer. So I did. I read through the first season, then the second, then the third, all the way to the finale. There's characters that you can't help but relate to, fight sequences that are extremely hyped, and many different Easter eggs scattered throughout the story, ranging from Tobey Maguire, Einstein, Tekken, and Mohawk Cult. This is the boxer. Hey, young man, have you fallen before the harsh winds of the world? Look, I'll tell you something good. Engrave it in your heart. All of these stars are shining for you. Someday, let us meet again, stronger. The Boxer initially is a story about 3 characters who are all complete contrast to one another. Yu is a person who stays to himself. He doesn't interact with others and has no plans about his future. There is something hinted within his past indicating he didn't have a well upbringing, and he wears the same dull expression everywhere. Jay is someone who has a lot of charisma. You rarely ever see him sad or angry. Overall, he's just an extremely good guy. He, however, is someone who is constantly bullied and considers himself weak. Whereas Ryu is a cocky narcissist who only cares about fighting. He enjoys the thrill of having superiority over others and fights as a means for people to idolize him. The story starts with this legendary trainer named Kei, who for the longest has been on the search for a new disciple to train boxing. He travels all over the world and visits many different gyms, but nobody is able to live up to the expectations he's looking for until he looks out of a window and spots this kid getting bullied. Something about this kid is off. He looks rough, his eyes has no life to them, and despite seeing every punch being thrown at him, he refuses to dodge simply because it's too bothersome. But K feels like there's something there, something hidden that could be the very thing he's been searching for. So, to test his instinct, he decides to throw a haymaker at the kid. The kid dodges this hit and K gives him an offer. An offer to show him what it means to live and make your own path. He offers to train him boxing and tells him he will be in the area for a month, giving him time to think and reflect if he wants to do it. Fast forwarding in the story, we see what Jay's everyday life consists of. He gets beat up constantly, forced to eat scraps, and is a stool for other students. He despises how weak he is and desperately wants to change, so he does just that. His source of strength is his father, and he often asks him for advice. His dad used to be a professional boxer and is well respected within the space. Something he would always tell his son is that the heart of a boxer lies in your ability to keep pushing forward. Even if you're beaten up and the spectators are all making fun of you, as long as you can move, you have to get up. The moment you lay still and give up is the moment you are finished as a boxer. At the end of the day, it's all about courage. The next day, for the very first time, he spoke up against his bully and decided it's time for a change. Despite getting knocked down and beaten, he stood back up, remembering the words his dad told him. You see, he didn't fight Ryu as a means to win. He never thought he could win in the first place. He used this as an opportunity to change and throw away his old self, vowing to become a boxer.
Is it fun? Is it fun hitting people?
Ultimately, he ends up saving Jay by beating the living hell out of him. This wasn't no regular beating. Bro got hit and spawned in a hospital. You seen something within Jay that he's been trying to find within himself. A light that feels warm and is unfamiliar to anything he's ever experienced. So as a means to figure out what this light is, he decided to take K's offer and learn how to box. Literally the next day, he's on a plane and left everything behind. Since joining K, Yu now trains in the Lion boxing gloves and is here where we learn K has built multiple world champions over the years. It is not said yet, but throughout the story, it's hinted that K has a personal vendetta against his strongest past student. For unknown reasons, it seems he left his gym and trains under someone else. The sole purpose of him finding a new disciple so that he can get revenge and take the belt back. After this point, the story follows K and Yu journey of climbing the boxing ranks and conquering every division. They essentially become the boogeyman of each weight class, or the Thanos of boxing. In the beginning of the story, Yu started out as a lightweight, but eventually he bulks up. There is no way this guy is natural. But eventually he bulks up to a heavyweight. Every fight and opponent he faces, he learns something new and takes that experience into his next fight. The fight against the Santonia brothers, Jean-Pierre, Yuto, all helped develop his style leading up to the final fight. On and off the ring, Yu has this uncanny aura about him. The guy emits this feeling of fear. Whenever he's in a fight, his jabs are razor sharp and his accuracy is one many boxers strive to have. Each fight presents a new challenge, so you see the different way K has Yu prepare for an upcoming bout. The guy is really petty. He has this sort of obsession of beating people in their own game and embarrassing them. Yu is normally an outboxer, meaning he keeps his distance and uses length and reach to keep his opponents at bay, and doesn't typically stay in the pocket. So when he faces an experienced infighter and the game plan is to smother him to death, his coach is like, "Watch and listen closely. This is your opponent. He looks big, he looks scary, and he's put in the work to achieve a massive frame. But we have one way to beat him. What do you think we should do?" I don't know. Why don't I just fight normally? This guy's stupid. This dude's an idiot. There's no way. I'll fight my regular fight. What's this dude on about? This guy an idiot? You steal his style. Another fight, he's fighting these guys who are known for fighting dirty. They use any sort of tactic to win. Harass you in your everyday life, bribe everyday people and refs, inject enhancing drugs to get an advantage, you get the point. So to combat against this, K's grand idea is to also shoot drugs in you. An eye for an eye, right? Aside from you fights, there are also other fights in this manhwa that are nothing short from hype. Light spoiler, but Jay fulfills his dream and becomes a professional boxer. As a kid, he got an eye injury that makes him partially blind in one eye, so his coach made him be an in-fighter to make up for his lack of vision. Despite his size being best suited to be an out-fighter, the guy is the living embodiment of grit, hard work, and never giving up. He's one of my favorite characters. Looking at this series from an outside perspective, this is what draws you in. It's the intense boxing, well drawn out spreads, and the random things that occur in the story that pulls you in. But for me and a lot of other people, I find myself being more invested in the actual characters of this story rather than the actual boxing. The Boxer is really a story about life, with boxing being this brush to carefully paint the stories of its characters. A question that is often brought up and challenged is, what is the meaning of life and death? And why start boxing? Why put yourself through the rigorous training, the disciplines, and agree to make a living off fighting?
You know, I gave the sport of boxing my whole life. I dedicated my whole life to the sport of boxing. And all I ever wanted to do was
making his professional debut,
put my family, my mother, and my father in a comfortable position.
How did you come to take up boxing?
Well, I started about 6 years ago. My bicycle was stolen, and my cousin was a boxer. He wasn't too successful, but he boxed. He took me to the gym, and he quit later, but I kept it up.
I was a sweet fighter, and George replied, sweet as sugar. And since that time, Sugar Ray Robinson has been added.
His official amateur record is 85 straight wins, 69 knockouts, 40 in the first round. Now that is a phenomenal amateur record.
Most people fight as a means to survive, provide for their family, and escape the current situation they're in. Others fight as a means to inspire a community. Similar to many boxers, the ones in this story all have similar reasons as to why they fight. Yuto fights as a means to give hope to others. This random side character fights to support his family. Gene fights to be a master at technique and to be the living embodiment of perfection. Now, Victor, I'm gonna be honest, he just fights to spread the Mohawk agenda. The guy fought a buffed up Einstein to win his belt. The author wrote The Boxer in a way that makes you feel invested in the story of each character. Yu is seen as this monster, this machine that only follows orders, and in some ways that is true. As you progress further, you learn his actions and the way he fights is all influenced by Coach K. And you learn K isn't this good guy. The Boxer constantly has you question the meaning of life and death and why we're put on this earth. He shows how people go through this world, the ups and downs, how one is affected by death, and the feeling of finally being able to progress in your life. I look at this story and praise it for its ability to add a variety of characters with full-fledged backgrounds, without it feeling convoluted or cluttered. I look at this manhwa and feel like I learned something new about myself and the importance of courage, brotherhood, and perseverance. The Boxer is by no means a masterpiece, nor is it the best boxing story. Overall, I found the manhwa to be decent. I think other series do a better job at, say, fight choreography, pacing, and writing a character with a troubled past. Yu is just kinda there. But one thing this series has that no other works really did for me is make me feel a genuine connection with practically the entire cast of characters. I told myself I'd read the first 50 chapters and base if I liked the series on that, but I swear to you, I was up until like 4 AM getting hyped at Jay boxing debut, watching Yu develop throughout the story to the point where we see him open up to Carmen, or the endless laughter I got from the Victor arc. It's so hard for me to say who was my favorite character or what is my favorite fight, but at this very moment for me, The Boxer is the best sports-related manhwa I have ever read. Partially because I've never read anything else. Whenever I do decide to read Windbreaker, I guess we'll see if it gets dethroned.
Get the fuck out of here!
As always, my friends, thank you for watching this video, and remember, all the stars are shining just for you. So live with no regrets.